Hey guys, it's A-Dogs and welcome to my channel. So today we have another gameplay video with Ava on the right hand side and Shaman King on the left. So the Shaman King player will be starting us off, so they got a card for the red line for the grade 1, which will search for an Armadaru, which will then be placed behind the Vanguard. With that, we'll pass it on to the Ava player. They discard a Tactian. So right into the grade 1 from the right line. The Tactian looks at the top 5 for an order. They do find an order. And the next they will use the skill of the grade 1 Ava to search for a research order and add it to their hand as well. And since they go second, they do get to draw one card. So they play a meteorite, then they swing for 8, and the Shaman King player takes it. They reveal nothing. The Shaman King player damage checks and reveals nothing as well. So pass over the Shaman King player. They discard a card for the grade 2 red line. They call out an Armadaru. They swing for 10 to the Vanguard. The other player takes it. They reveal nothing. They swing with the Vanguard. The other player also takes that one. And they reveal nothing as well. Now we pass it back over to the other player. So they discard a card for the right line for the grade 2. Grade 2 searches for a research order as well. They will then play the research order. So the research order allows them to draw one and then discard one. Then they swing for 10 to the Shaman King's Vanguard. The Shaman King player does take it. They reveal nothing. We pass it back over to Shaman King. To discard a card from the hand for the grade 3 Yo. Then they call it a Chocolove. So they Soul Blast 2 to search for the Jaguar, and it gets put behind the Chocolove. So they overstole the Vanguard. So they swing with the Vanguard first for 10, the other player takes it. They do reveal a critical trigger. Next they swing with their Vanguard, the other player goes 1 to pass. They reveal nothing. And then they swing with the Chocolove column, making the opponent reveal 3 cards from their hand. And then they take the damage. Now we pass it over to the other player. So they draw for turn. They discard for the grade 3 Ava. They then play another research order to draw one and ditch one. They will then use Ava's skill to look at the top card for each card they have in the order zone. Since they have 3, they look top 3. They get to add one to hand, and then they put the rest on the bottom of the deck, and then it gets +5. They call 2 Obfuscates, I believe that's what it's called. Sorry if I butchered that. The swing of Ava for 15. 18, sorry. The Shaman King player does take it. They do reveal a hill. They give the power to the Obfuscate on their right hand side, and then they give the power from the draw trigger to the Obfuscate on the left hand. So they swing for a fairly hefty number. I think it might be around 28 or something. So the Shaman King player does take it. They reveal a critical trigger, and then they swing with the other rearguard, which the Shaman King player does guard with. So next we pass back over to Shaman King. So they do Persona Ride. Now gives the front row an extra 10k power. So they oversoul the Vanguard. And then they call a NR behind the Yo. So because Yo is on 4 damage, when they did oversoul, it did get a crit. So they swing with crit to the Ava player. The Ava player does guard it here, and because they do guard it, Yo will stand because of Anna's skill, but it will lose 1 drive. So they swing again. The other player takes it. They reveal a heal trigger, so they give the power to Amadaru from the kill. So the other player does take 1 damage, only because of the fact since they heal, the crit is now offline. They swing with the Amadaru for 30, I do believe it is. They take that one, they reveal the crit trigger. And the next they swing with the Chocolate Love Column to the Obstigate, which does die, and they pass over to the Ava player. So the Ava player does Persona Ride. They play another order. They draw one and ditch one. Then they use the skill of the order. Since they have more than 3 now, they can bind one of the opponent's regards. So they bind the Amadaru. They use the skill of Ava to add 1 card to hand for each research they have in the order zone. And then they put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. And then she does get +5. So they swing with their Vanguard for 28, and they will call out an Obstigate. Now because the Obstigate is being called from the deck, it will gain a crit, as well as 10k power. So the Shaman King player does take it, they reveal a crit, they give a power to the Obstigate on the left hand side, they reveal a heal, and they give power to the Obstigate on the right hand side. So the Shaman King player does reveal a heal and a draw, so they're currently at 33. So they swing with the Obstigate on the left. They got that one. And then swing with the Obstigate on the right. they got that one as well. So we now pass it back over to the Shaman King player. So they cross ride. So they call it an Amadaru, they oversold the Vanguard. They call that the grade 2 that I believe can call a card from the drop. It's Reard circles, that's a Shaman, so they call a Chocolove, and then the Chocolove will search for a Jaguar. So they swing with their Reard first. The other player does guard it. Then swing with their Vanguard. The other player does guard that one as well. They reveal a draw, they give the power to the Chocolove, and then they reveal a crit, which they also gave the crit power to. Because the Vanguard did not hit, and I will stand Yo, so we can attack again, but he loses one drive. So let's swing with the Chocolove column first. The other player does guard that one, and then they swing with their Vanguard. So they go for one to pass, and they hit the heal trigger. Oh sorry, it might not be one to pass, sorry. So they pass it over to the other player does Persona Ride, they do play a research order, so they get to draw one and dish one. Then they use the skill of the order to bind a Reguard, so they bind the Chocolove. They will use the skill of Ava to look at the top 4 cards. They'll add one to hand and then put the rest on the bottom in any order. So they swing with the Vanguard. They will not use the skill to search for Obstigate. So they go for 2 to pass. First they give power to the Vanguard, and they gain a crit, they give all to the Vanguard as well. So the Shaman King player does reveal a heal, and the next check is a blank. The heal does keep them alive. Then swing with their Vanguard. Shaman King player does guard it, and then they swing with the other obfuscate, which Shaman King player does guard. So we pass it back over to the Shaman King player. So they Persona Ride. They call it Amdaru, they oversoul the Vanguard. Then they use the order, which I do believe retires the whole field. The opponent's whole field, sorry. So swing with the regard column to the Vanguard. The other player does reveal 3 cards for Jaguar's skill. They do take that one. They take 1 damage, they reveal a crit trigger. Then swing with the Vanguard. They reveal blanks, so that Vanguard's attack was successfully guarded, but they use a skill of Anna to stand the Vanguard, and it gets drive -1. Then swing with the Vanguard again. I believe that is completely guarded, so they reveal a blank, and then lastly they swing with their regard column. The Ava player reveals 3 cards for Jaguar's skill, and then they guard that column as well. So we pass it back over to the Ava player. So they use a skill of Ava. Look at the top 4, I believe, and then they put the rest on the bottom in any order. So they only have 3 cards left now. They call the grade 1, I believe that can put anything on the bottom of the deck. But if it's a grade 3, they can soul blast a certain amount to draw a card. So swing with the Ava, they will use the Ava skill to search for the obfuscate that they put on the bottom of the deck. They call that the obfuscate. Never mind, I don't believe they call the obfuscate at all. So they guard that one, they give it a trigger, and a draw trigger. So they give all to the obfuscate, then swing with the obfuscate, and the Shaman King player does guard that one. So with that, the Shaman King player does win the first game. So both players is quickly dividing their right deck from the main deck, and then we will be getting into the second game very shortly. Alrighty, so the game 2 will now start. Since the other player did lose, they will be going first. Right, so they draw for turn. They discard Tactian, try into the grade 1. They'll use the Tactian first, top 5 to search for an order. They do find a meteorite, and then the grade 1 will search for a research order. So they'll play a meteorite and then pass it over to the Shaman player. So they draw for turn. They discard for the ride line. So they'll use the School of Grade 1 to search the Amadaru. And then they will draw for going second. So they swing, the Ever player does take it, they reveal a blank, and the Ever player takes a damage, which they also reveal nothing. So they discard a card for the ride line for the grade 2 Ava, and the Ava will search for a research order. So they play the research order to draw one, then ditch one. And then they swing with their Vanguard, which the Shaman player does take. They reveal a heal, so they heal their damage. And then we pass it over to the Shaman player. Discard a card for the ride line. Then they call it Amadaru, and each will go behind the Amadaru. So swinging the regard column first, the other player does reveal 3 cards, and then they take it, they reveal nothing, and they swing with the Vanguard, which the Ava player does take as well. They reveal a heal, so they heal a point of damage, and the Ava player takes a point of damage. Then we pass it over to the Ava player. They discard a card for the ride line. Then they play a research order, so they get to draw one and ditch one. Then call an obstigate. Then they swing with they use Ava's act skill first. Look at the top 2, add 1 card to hand and put the rest on the bottom in any order. Then they swing with the Vanguard, searching for an obstigate. And since the obstigate is being called from deck, it will gain a critical. So the drive check, they reveal nothing. The Shaman King player does take it, sorry. Then they swing with the obstinate on the right, they take it, they reveal a draw trigger, and then they swing with the obstinate with the crit on the left to the Vanguard. Which the Shaman King player does guard, so we pass it over to the Shaman King player. So discard one for the ride line. And then they oversolve the Vanguard. They then call the grade 2. And they use the skill of the Overtrigger to retire the opponent's regards. Then call the grade 2, which searches for the Anna from the drop. They put it behind the Vanguard. So they swing with their regard to the Vanguard, which the other player does take. They then swing with their Vanguard to the other player's Vanguard, which the other player does guard. They reveal nothing, but because the Yo did not hit, Anna will stand the Vanguard. So the Vanguard does swing again. Every player does guard again as well. They reveal a heal. They give the power to the Vanguard, which pushes through. The other player reveals no defensives. Use skill of grade 2, Soul Blasting 2 to stand it. Then swing with the grade 2 to the other player, which they also do guard. And then lastly, they swing with the Armadillo boosted by the Jaguar, which the other player has to reveal 3 cards. And then they take the point of damage. We now pass it back over to the Ava player. The Ava player does Persona Ride. They play a research order, so they get to draw one and then dish one. They'll then use the skill of the research order to bind the Armadillo. They will call the grade 1 that can put a card on the bottom of the deck. They put 2 obstigates on the bottom since they use 2 grade 1s. They use the skill of Ava to look at the top 3 cards. They do not add any to hand. They then play another grade 1, which will put, I believe, a grade 1 on the bottom of the deck. Then swing with Ava, use its skill to search for an obstigate. And the obstigate does gain crit since it was called from the deck. So they reveal a draw trigger, they give the power to the grade 1, and then they reveal a critical trigger, so they give the crit to the Ava and power to the obstigate. The Shaman King player does take 2 damage, and they find a draw and a heal trigger. Then swing with the grade 1 to the regard. and then guard the grade 2, then they swing the obfuscate to the Vanguard. You can see my absolutely horrible legs in the background. We pass it over to the Shaman King player. They now Persona Ride. They call the Choco Love. Sorry, they changed that. They oversold the Vanguard first for the Amdaru, then they call the Choco Love. They then call the Jaguar behind the grade 2 on the right hand side of the Shaman King player. And then swing with the grade 2. They force the opponent to reveal 3 cards. They guard that one. Then swing with the Vanguard, which now gains crit. The Ava player does guard that one, and since it was guarded, Anna will stand the Vanguard, and the Vanguard will swing again with -1 drive. They reveal a critical trigger, so they give the crit and power. They give the crit to the Vanguard and then power to the Regard, and unfortunately the Ava player has to take the damage, so the Shaman King player wins the round. So that is the end of the gameplay video. If you guys did enjoy, please do leave a like, and while you're down there, why not subscribe and hit that notification button so when I upload my next video you will be notified. Alrighty, A-Dogs out, see ya!